Alana Plews and guitarist Justin Waringa, who many in West Michigan would recognize from a variety of bands and projects, including his own solo work. And before that, you had Momentum featuring J. Rob. Of course, that's Brother Adams. The track was called Chatter. And Chatter, the new album from Holland band Brother Adams. We played the track Momentum. Features a guest appearance, of course, by J. Rob, as we mentioned there. The band released its new album in late August and recently released a video to accompany Momentum. I had a great little start when I introduced Momentum by Brother Adams, and then I played Agony of You by Emery Blues Band for a good 10 seconds. Because that's what I do when John Sikovich tells me to take over for him on Local Spins. Well, the other voices that you hear, I've moved over to the Deckham Productions sponsored Studio X, and that's probably a familiar voice that you hear there, J. Oscar Bittinger.
Good morning, Beer City!
I like it. This is working. You are waking me up, sir. So tell us about, we're of course going to talk about Farm here in a minute, but let's just start with you. Let's dig into you, sir. Tell us what's music life like for you lately here?
Well, you know, it's been a busy time. I've had this a band called October Day, and we've been working on recordings. We got one out. I do say you might want to check out joscarbittinger.com. Go to the October Day page, and we'll link you right up there to that new song that I'm going to play live today.
Here in just a moment.
Shortly. And so we've been working on recordings, and we played festival, and we played a few shows this year, and we're kind of taking a break to do more recording. Coming out in spring with some spring songs, and we're excited about that.
And you're a familiar face, voice, guitar player, et cetera, here in Grand Rapids. Been making music here. Are you originally from here?
I am not. I'm from Ohio, much like Hayes. And we Ohioans eventually migrate up here, and and do all right. And so I came up for school. Went to Grand Valley at Thomas Jefferson College. Shout out to all those TJCers, and just got involved with music. Did bands. I've played in a pop band called Pillar of Fire, which people used to come out and dance to. And then did the Folk Brothers with Steve Aldrich and Bruce Zayo, and did Dublin Station with my wife Lauren, and we also had a band called Oxter Mahone, Irish band, traditional with an edge, little tinge of punk in it, but all acoustic. All acoustic.
And I see you have a show coming up with the man himself, Ralston, on November 9th, the Grand River Folk Arts Society Heritage Series over the Wealthy Theater Annex. Was that a gentleman that you met pretty soon after moving here to Grand Rapids?
So, you know, Ralston and I have a long history, about 30 years. And Ralston, I can tell you many stories about our interactions, but one of the first ones was we had a Dylan-off, where we both sang Dylan lines at one another at a show, and kept it up, and it was kind of fun. So I thought, this guy can hang with him.
I feel like knowing both of you and thinking about the first time you met, I guarantee that is true. Like these two probably just yelled Bob Dylan lyrics to each other the whole time. All right, enough of this nonsense. You do hear another voice in the room here that we're going to speak to in a minute. Smitty Dudley Smith, president of Folk Alliance Regional Midwest. This is a great conference in town this week that Oscar is a big part of, and so we're going to chat here in just a moment about that. But let's get a tune. Oscar, what are you going to play for us over there?
I'm going to play an autumn tune. Now, Drew Nelson, at one point, I played this tune for him, and it had a middle break, and Drew goes, "What are you doing? You don't need that." I go, "He's right." So you won't hear that. It's a big blue sky, perfect autumn day. Sun is high, headed on our way. 'Neath a big blue sky, golden autumn day. Troubles blow out the window, like leaves they fall away. Neath the big blue sky, hard to be alone. We get all wrapped up in our thoughts along this road. Neath the big blue sky, golden coming out or going home. Love is still a mystery, best I've ever known. Pick it, Oscar. Yeah. It's a big blue sky an old master might paint, red, gold, and brown, reflecting in the lake, 'neath the big blue sky, before the daylight fades, like geese on the horizon, just might fly away. Into the big blue sky, I'll fly away. Into the big blue sky, I'll fly away. Into the big blue sky.
That's live music right here in Studio X for Local Spins on WYCE from Oscar Bittinger. Big Blue Sky performed for us. Beautiful song right there. And we're
Thanks,
also
Quinn.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And we're also joined by Smitty Smith.
That's me.
Dudley Smitty Smith, president of FARM, Folk Alliance Regional Midwest, and we're going to chat with him about this conference going on in Grand Rapids. Smitty, I'll tell you, to start off here, I was thinking about this, and we've talked a lot about this conference here on
Sure.
WYC and had some great events already and started here in Grand Rapids. For those that don't know, and I don't know how many times you get asked this kind of question, but I'm just sitting here thinking there's someone driving through Grand Rapids right now, and they just happen to find 88.1 on the dial, and they want to know what's going on around town. We say Folk Alliance, we say Farm, we say, yeah, it's been great and everything. Someone's never heard of this in their entire life. Give me a little bit of the elevator pitch of what is going on here in town.
Sure. From a broader perspective, Folk Alliance is an international organization that supports, promotes, and does what's necessary for contemporary and traditional folk music, and that's the wide spectrum from blues to roots to folk to anything in the middle there. And then there are 5 regional organizations, and we're the Midwest Regional Organization. So we have a conference every year. It's going on this weekend. It's at the Crown Plaza Hotel over on 28th Street, just the other side of 96. And there are 300 some odd musicians, agents, fans, bookers, venue presenters like yourself that
Radio
come
stations? Yeah.
spend 3 or 4 days as a community and learn from each other and have a lot of performing going on. So from a fan perspective, for instance, if you're driving through, what am I going to do on Friday night in Grand Rapids?
Right.
Well, come to the Crown Plaza Hotel. For a very reasonable donation, you can come in and see 7 curated showcase performances, and then literally over 100 smaller performances in hotel rooms later on in the evening.
Yeah, it's really interesting. There's just so many different types of musical conferences and different festivals in different ways. And, you know, Oscar and I were chatting the other night about things, house concert festivals and porch concert. You know, the idea is putting music everywhere and anywhere. This conference in particular in the hotel rooms here, it's really quite a unique experience to kind of walk around from room to room and take in the many different style acts, right?
Sure. I mean, each performance is intimate, but there are about 15 of them all in a 100-foot stretch. And you can just, sometimes I think of it like speed dating. You go in a room and you get one more song, I'm going to the next room and go and see who's in there. And then half hour later, it's all changed over and there's new musicians in every room. And it's a lot of fun.
What does that original email look like to the hotel when you say, we'd like to bring in 300 musicians to take over?
It's interesting, you know. A lot of them get this scared look in their face. I'm like, okay, well, maybe you're not the right hotel for us. You know, others are like, you know what, we've got a wing, we've got a stretch of rooms where, you know, as long as we put your people above it and then other people on either side of it, we can do this.
And so you mentioned open to the public. They can just show up and pay the fee or the donation. Of course, it's a nonprofit, so you just come out to that Crown Plaza Hotel and say you're here for the shows.
Say you're here for farm, which confuses people. We're not really about pigs or tractors. Not that there aren't songs sometimes sung about such. I mean, Drew Nelson is an official showcase tomorrow night. You know, Dusty Road to Beulah Land, whatever. There's some farm references there, but farm means Folk Alliance Region Midwest.
And there's one more thing I want to touch on that. I'm glad you said sort of the different songs. Folk music can mean, you know, a million different things. It's like saying it's a rock music, you know, concert or a country music concert. You know, it goes all over the place. So, you know, describe to me, if you can, what you mean by folk music, you know, that's taking place out there. Because I know we had a concert the other night and, you know, musicians played many different instruments, had many different styles. I wouldn't say if I thought folk music, I just sat down and heard all what I would think of as folk music. It can be so many different things.
It can. I'll just go through the style of a few of the artists we've got going on. A lot of singer-songwriters, like Drew Nelson, for instance, but we've got an act called Windborne, which is 4 a cappella singers with a lot of beautiful harmonies going on. We've got another act called Asaran Earth Trio, which is world music. One of the women is from Brazil, one's from someplace in Europe, and then they come here and perform. Gaines and Wagner are kind of a bluesy 30s blues jazz kind of duo thing going on. T. Buckley's from Canada, so we get some Canadian references in there. Joel Mavis. Everybody knows Joel Mavis around this part of the world. Joel's performing this more traditional folk coming out of Joel's part of the world. It spans the spectrum from blues to world music and everything in between.
And just to camp on for that a minute is the fact that, you know, it's not just sit and listen. It's a lot of dancing, audience participation.
Good point.
Action is going on too. It's fun.
Sure.
It actually is fun, and folk music comes from the people. You know, it's music that people play in their living rooms, on their porches, you know, in their kitchens to dance to and things like that.
Well,
that's where it's from.
When you go see a musician perform in a hotel room, you're going to know them a little bit by the end of the 10 or 15 minutes you might listen to them. You can't help it. And you can say hi, and they have to walk right by you on their way out of the room. Sure. And it's a lot of fun.
So again, we're talking here to Smitty, president of Folk Alliance Regional Midwest. That's going on this weekend. Smitty, tell the listeners one more time where it's located, times, and how to be a part of it.
The Crown Plaza Hotel on 28th Street, just on the east side of I-96. Anytime after 6 o'clock this evening, come by. We'll take a small donation from you, and you can stay until 2:30 in the morning if you want. Well, you can stay all night if you want, but the music will stop about 2:30.
And, of course, we're joined here as well with J. Oscar Bittinger. And you've got some showcases, I'm assuming you're doing this weekend out there?
I'm doing one. I'm running a room, the Foundry Hall room. Actually, I'm with a guest tonight. I was the MC last night. I do want to mention, too, that's not only tonight, but it's also Saturday night, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Friday and Saturday.
Both nights. So I'll be doing something tonight, and then pretty much I'm going to enjoy some music and see my friends and hang out.
I love it. And our listeners are going to enjoy some music right now. Oscar, you got another tune prepared for us?
I got one more now. I'm sad to say that it has no harmonica. I apologize to you harmonica fans that there'll be no Dylan blowing of the harmonica here. But you can go on to Bandcamp, look up J. Oscar and October Day, and you will find this track. You can buy it if you want, and if you don't, you just can listen to it. So here's what I do with it. That's the harmonica there. This little town I've got to blow, man. I want to know what's down the road. Comes a time you got to let go, and you gotta take your shot. Drop your nickel in the slot. Won't you call me Jack? Just like Kerouac. Forget the map, let's just drive. Windows down, music loud. It's good to be alive. Hey, yeah. When your wonder turns to hunger, starts eating you up with desire. Kiss me deep, no time to sleep. We gotta burn, burn, burn like the clock's on fire. The clock's on fire. Grab the sad old world in a glad embrace. Let's get belly to belly, face to face. And you can call me Jack, just like Kerouac. Forget the map, let's just drive. Windows down, music loud. Ain't it good to be alive? Ain't it good to be alive? Ain't it good to be alive? All right now, so you can sing the horn part here with me. Da 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 da, da 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 ba ba da da da, ba da da ba da da da, ba da da ba ba.
Eyes on the road. 2 and 10. But do turn it up. Oscar.
That's what I'm talking about right there. You know they were singing along in the car.
Yeah, baby, thanks. We could hear you.
I appreciate that.
All right,
Jay Oscar Bittinger right here performing for us live on Local Spins on WYCE. Oscar has performances coming up on November 9th, Saturday, November 9th with Ralston over at the Grand River Folk Arts Society Heritage Series at Wealthy Theater Annex. And then you and I are working on a little something special over at Listening Room to reboot A Winter's Tune.
That's right.
I'm not going to say the date yet because there's 2 dates we're still trying to finalize, but stay tuned for that as well, A Winter's Tune. And also special thanks to Smitty here with us from the Folk Alliance Regional Midwest. Thanks for joining us here.
Thanks,
Remember,
Oscar.
that's going on all weekend, so just a pleasure to work with both of you here today. Very nice to see you. And speaking of this week's Farm Conference, one of the main organizers of the event happens to be musician Annie Capps of the Ann Arbor Urban Folk Group. Yes. Annie and Rod Capps, they happen to have a brand new album out titled When They Fall, which ended up at number 5 on the Folk DJ chart top albums of the month. This single was the number 1 song on the chart. So let's get back to some music right here on Local Spins. This is That Would Do Some Good right here on WYCE.